Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session with SIGGRAPH at Unity. We are going to be taking you through how SIGGRAPH is used through several different production workflows. A couple of the clients that we've worked with is HBO Max, Scot-Free Productions, and Maxis as well, and you'll be seeing a few other clients that we work with throughout the presentation. We want to really give you an overview of SIGGRAPH, what it can do for your studio, and give you a sense of how it might integrate into your productions. The three of us, just to give you a little bit of context, we've got Bernard here, who is the co-founder of SIGGRAPH, and the creative director and ideas guy. He really foundationally came up with the concept for SIGGRAPH many years ago, and SIGGRAPH was born in production while he was working with one of the other co-founders, Phil, at Pixar. We've got Tobin here as well, who is our senior solutions architect, and he is very much connecting with customers and making sure that they're able to use the tools and integrate them with their pipelines really tightly and give them an understanding of how best to leverage the tool set that we're providing to them. And I am Victoria, product manager here at SIGGRAPH for just over a year now, and I get to help take the ideas that the customers have and turn them into a reality within the product. So I love the chance to get to chat with all of you, and if you have ideas for SIGGRAPH in the future, very happy to coordinate on those ideas and take that feedback and turn it into a product.
Yeah. Also, the three of us are probably the ones that you are going to most interact with when you are a client of ours, to talk about product, to make sure you find your way around, and to basically help us improve the product. And but this presentation today is mostly focused on our customers and how they are communicating on their productions. So we're going to talk about their challenges. We're going to talk about the secret sauce that we think we help them with, and we will basically then look at their applied solutions and how that secret sauce sort of applies in those productions. And in the end, we are going to have a brief Q&A. So SIGGRAPH was, like Victoria mentioned, built by artists. I was an artist at Pixar. I witnessed a lot of amazing things happening there in terms of how the review and iteration cycle was working. But I generally saw, in the industry outside of Pixar and even inside of Pixar, people struggle to communicate visually, right, and effectively, right? So visual ideas themselves are already not easy to communicate in words, and you need to have visual representation of them, and and that's even hard in person, right? But even more difficult when you're in a remote or hybrid working environment. And it's challenging to provide feedback in real time. There's people working in different places in the world. Having a sort of a back and forth communication on something visual with the full interactivity that you need is always, a challenge. And of course, then when you're working in the cloud, that the solution for this real-time communication is often the cloud. Security is always a concern with high-value IP, right? So those are the main things that we're looking at and that we're providing, that we're looking at as a problem space, and where we're focused on helping our customers overcome these issues, right? So customers like Scot-Free Productions, Ray McIntyre, visual effects supervisor on Raised by Wolves, came to us with a set of problems that they faced specifically, right? So the show had to communicate with 14 vendors worldwide, along with HBO execs and representatives of Scot-Free Productions. And they wanted to have one solution for the entire production, one review solution, one way of communicating on visuals for the entire productions. And many of the creative vendors McIntyre worked with were already accustomed to a synchronized review tool, which required them to send media and a list of shots and content ahead of time, tweak playlists last minute, and review to be sure files names were synced up. So there was a lot of sort of maintenance of that tool to make sure everybody was on the same page by the time review started. There was a lot of overhead there. And though it was cumbersome to some degree, it was at least familiar with some of the core productions. But for the rest of the production organization, however, adopting to this method was not really the solution that the other teams were looking for. So it was a major obstacle for them to have buy-in from other teams. And let's say, for example, a marketing person is asking to get a particular shot to a campaign. Ray mentioned to us our prior review tool would be totally foreign to that person, but SIGGRAPH made it easy and simple to share it with everyone, right? Because you share just with a link, and any changes can be done last second in the link. You know, you can just add content on the fly, so it makes it a lot easier. The second production that came to us, that we're going to focus on today, we have, many productions, but this, we're pointing these out because I think these represent sort of the most common use cases for studios. And my other three Netflix production done, for the last few years was a pretty ambitious production as well. And the creative team was looking for an accessible, artist-friendly review platform that can accommodate high-resolution art, animation, and 3D models. So they were looking for the whole gamut of media files. They want to effectively connect with teams scattered across various global locations to enable creative collaboration. And they wanted to have the ability to synchronously scrub through content with basically an unlimited amount of people and give specific to-the-frame feedback via annotations. And they wanted to have a tool that has the high-fidelity brushes and markup tools that would allow them to have the ability to provide more feedback than just red circles and than ever before. So our brush system was a big buy-in for them. And they wanted to, of course, have a secure solution that seamlessly integrates with the production without the need to rebuild the entire pipeline. So how can you basically provide a tool that the productions can simply adopt and quickly add on to the workflow and have buy-in from the entire team? That's a very good, was their biggest challenge.
One thing I might just add too is that one of the biggest differentiators for us from a lot of other production management solutions that integrate review is that all of our ecosystem is based around the artist and creative supervisors. So it's really tools that are geared towards those artists to make sure that the feedback is as clear as possible and they're not getting lost in the system. So that's kind of what we're trying to do with SIGGRAPH, is make sure that if you are an artist, you know what you're supposed to do as you iterate through the production.
So basically, what most customers come to us with, and this is sort of paraphrased, is we want to have a central hub for visual content. We want to discuss ideas and visuals anywhere, at any time, on any browser, and on any device. And we want to have easy real-time working sessions with as many people as we want to make remote work more efficient, right? And we have the one peace of mind that our IP is secure, right? And what this all boils down to is we want to do better work faster. Like, what is the end goal of this? So we put, of course, we can provide all these on a recipe list, but what we strive to do is allow our customers to do their work better and faster. And one of the things that, and of course have fun doing so, that's a very, very big factor. If you want to go to this next slide. But how do we do this, right? How do we provide all these features but also fill in those gaps in between? So we're going to talk about the atomic unit of creation, which basically is the workflow that everybody goes through who does something creative, right? So if you learn an instrument, or if you do art or fine art, if you learn any new skill really, you basically start, and then you realize, hey, there's something not quite right. You take a step back, you learn, you develop an ear, you develop an eye, you see, oh, there's something I can improve. You step back, you look at it, what could be better, right? And then you go back to the canvas and you improve it and repeat it. Repeat that iteration over and over again, and you do that 1,000 times until you have the final painting, until you have the final art piece, until you have the final production, right? So we focus on iteration and how can we improve the iteration speed. And just as a story, I joined Pixar in 2008 and was there for 7 years. And it was kind of amazing to see, because I was working in productions in Europe for a while, and I was always curious, what is it that makes Pixar the company that just churns out one Academy Award winning animated feature after the other? And I was thinking that maybe it's the artist, maybe it's the workflow, maybe it's the technology, maybe it's just brilliant directors that just come up with these amazing ideas. And the truth is, it's a mix of everything. But one of the things that I didn't really realize is that when in Germany somebody, for example, we're coming from Germany, when somebody pitches a film and it's not perfect out of the box, the director is sometimes easily dismissed, or the idea is easily dismissed, and we're not iterating on it, we're not investing in it, right? Pixar does those investments, right? Pixar sees an idea, believes in the person, but they, as Ed Catmull says in his book, Creativity Inc., early on, all our movies suck, right? And he's basically saying he's worked with a fair share of creative geniuses, but they come out of the box with ideas that, need refinement. They're not really great, from the very start. But that's exactly where Pixar's secret is, and that's where they're coming from. As artists, they know that iteration is key, right? The production's budgets are sometimes tight. We want to have things perfect from the start. But the truth is we all need iteration to get from A to Z. We get from the very beginning to the very end when the movie comes out and the movie is good. And we all feel like we've put a lot of work into it. And we had a chance to iterate on those ideas that are sort of rough. And in the time that I was there, Pixar turned out 7 Academy Award-winning movies in the 7 years that I was there. And it was, that just proves that there's a process that works. And it's about candid feedback. It's about finessing that iteration cycle. And that's something that I've never seen any company as well as at Pixar, is that they took it to heart and really, really worked that cycle to make sure that feedback is given candidly, accurately, and quickly. So the iteration cycle, what does it mean? So for us, you basically, just like the slide with the canvas and the artist, you create, right? You do your first step, then you prepare for a review in the production, right? You basically upload your content to a review, to something where you can review it with people, and then you capture the feedback in the review. You make sure the artists or the stakeholders have the ability to communicate exactly what they are seeing and what they need to have improved. And of course, your idea is as good as your ability to communicate it. So if the artist or the creative leadership doesn't have the ability to clearly communicate what they want to see, you're going to spend another iteration cycle. You're going to communicate something that might not be completely what the director wants, right? And of course, in the end of the day, there's always a team behind it that basically processes these notes into tasks and makes sure that they're distributed to the teams. And we try to basically perfect this iteration cycle. And once it comes to the next approval, it goes to the approval, it goes into the next iteration cycle in the next department. So if you look at a final frame at Pixar, we all know this, we all go from production, every single asset has gone through modeling reviews, concept art reviews, shading reviews, lighting reviews, right? There's been literally thousands of reviews in every single frame in a movie. And when we can refine even just 10% of those iteration cycles, we save a ton of work, we save a ton of frustration on the process. So ease of use is basically one of our key components of our tool that we provide to our customers. So people can easily upload, share, and collaborate immediately, right? And in addition to that, once you have that link, you have the most powerful review tool set at your fingertips to work and give feedback, right? So what do we offer? We offer sequence playback so people can see it in context. Context is a big component of reviewing something properly, is to see shots before and afterwards, right? We provide high-end drawing tools. We believe that you should not always have circles and arrows to communicate something, right? You should be able to go in and basically pick the lighting shade, the color that you want specifically, and draw over certain areas of the frame in order to communicate exactly what you want, right? Here's a certain sheen I want to have with this material. Here's a certain lighting, a bounce light that I want to have here. Circles and arrows don't do that, right? We want to have a rapid UI. We want to have artists feel really comfortable with the UI. We want to be able to compare any files with anything. We want to have, we have time-based annotations. You can jump to any time in the timeline and look at your annotation. We have animation tools like ghosting, onion skinning, whiteboards that you can use to quickly ideate and really give refined feedback frame by frame very quickly. And it's this creative conversation back and forth between an artist in their own time, asynchronized or synchronized in a review session. And then we allow different download options to allow you to download with download PDFs, CSV files to make sure that productions also and clients are getting a good summary of what was discussed. And then we allow reviewing animations, 3D models and assets. That's important for various reasons, but we all work in 3D. And not being able to review 3D assets is a big big gap, and so we wanted to provide something that makes it easy, instead of just doing screenshots, sending it to the creative director or to the art director, making they do Photoshop drawovers, send it back in email. By that time a week has passed, you're already on the next iteration of the model. You know, you don't know which camera angle you use to make those screenshots. There's a bunch of things there that make it really hard to work on 3D models, and we try to solve that workflow as well. So this is a quick example of 3D asset reviews. And we're going to talk about these features mostly because we're feeling like these are the things that we are solving for our customers, and then we talk about how that solved some problems for Raised by Wolves and for Maxis and Maya and the 3. So these are spatial annotations. This is a static model that can be annotated from any angle, but you can also do that in a 4D way. So you have 3D annotations on a timeline. So you can, at any point, you can play a video back or a 3D animation file back. You can rotate to any angle. You can draw over. The drawer sticks to that camera angle, that perspective, and you can change the model view to only show matte cap, to only show a certain material channel, and so on. So to make sure that you can annotate just the normal map, just the albedo, and when you go back to that node, you will see it exactly like you left it. Maxis mentions here that SIGGRAPH 3D Viewer has been a game changer for them and how we review animations. Previously, there have been, animation game studios are using often recording multiple angles from the same animation, reviewing them from multiple angles, and it just creates a lot of overhead. And being able to just upload an FBX file onto SIGGRAPH, dragging and dropping it onto it, allows them to very quickly annotate and review files on the fly and basically embed it into the pipeline. It's one intuitive and easy to use package.
I would also add that as you see some of these quotes, these are people and clients that we're working with on a very close basis to make sure that the tools are really tied into their workflows. We meet with Maxis, I believe, every month or two to really get a sense for how do they want the product to progress and where do they need it to go in order to hit the quality levels that they want to hit in the future, as well as the deadlines that they have to deliver their productions.
Yeah. So this is the brush engine that I was talking about. So here, for example, you can quickly erase color pick, erase areas, and this is, I think, 1.5 times speed or something. So it's really very quick to make annotations and get your point across instead of drawing an arrow and writing, "Hey, hole in the in the hat." And this is just a very very brief. Let me just go back and forward again. Maybe show them one more time. So I have the ability to pick different brushes, transparency, there's pressure sensitivity, there's speed sensitivity, anything that you essentially can do in Procreate with brushes, almost you can do in SIGGRAPH, and you can also use it on the iPad. So you can be in a synchronized review with your team, and you can pull out your iPad and review on your iPad. This is something that Buck really enjoyed. Buck is a creative agency, and they're saying they're super happy with the fidelity of the brushes and the markup tools. A lot of other tools make aggregate strokes, where you paint things, which is sort of if you have transparent brush and you paint over the same area, it builds up. And they were saying that's frustrating because you really want to make nuanced annotations. And in SIGGRAPH, we thought about all those little details. So I think a lot of people have, experience with various brushes, and there's always that sort of 10-20% that's lagging. And I think that's where we focus, is to make sure that we take it all the way to where artists feel like, okay, this is what I need. And exactly like I mentioned, I can just throw it on my iPad and draw things accurately there. And Michael Tucker was a producer of Psychonauts 2. He was saying, I cannot recommend it enough for studios that are struggling to keep track of the reviews since moving to more word marking. The brushes and other features are what artists are all made with artists in mind, so it's simple to pick up and implement studio-wide. So back to Raised by Wolves. The production basically upgraded from the legacy tool to SIGGRAPH and to create and communicate with 14 vendors and to internal stakeholders. We have synchronized reviews to accommodate the scale and speed required for the effects-intensive project. This was basically, SIGGRAPH was adopted as the only review tool in the pipeline. They had cross-team buy-in, and they had fast-paced workflows, which this allowed. So the fast-paced cross-department use provided immediate and flexible sharing with unlimited viewers to keep workflows on track and meet tight deadlines. They had a ton of shots for season 2 that are very tight production time, and they were able to deliver. This is, we take a big pride that if we help a production like this get to the finish line, then we feel like we succeed. It's an ease of use. We can quickly add new content to a live review. So any single addition, things that happen on the fly, just the reality of productions, where we enable and we help customers solve these problems. So that was something that they really liked. Another thing that Ray mentioned on this is that he used 3D model reviews for things that we didn't expect it to be used for. He did drone photogrammetry scans of virtually every environment, and so he could just he mentioned that when they were shooting in South Africa, I captured drone photogrammetry scans of virtually every environment, and once those models were made, I could prop them into SIGGRAPH whenever I needed to explain something, like pointing out something that's not visible or where something needs to go on set. I could rotate it around and show them exactly what I was talking about from every angle. So it's being used for all sorts of purposes. So for them, the biggest challenge was obviously the scope, and SIGGRAPH saved them precious time, and that's exactly what we're aimed to do, is to help them basically go through this with native 3D model viewer, a web-based review platform, simplified interface, and high-quality playback and secure access. So my other 3, going to them, they had similar challenges. And for them, also SIGGRAPH provided that easy-to-use cloud platform, offering a centralized hub. So all their creators were on there to communicate, and they could review content in real time from anywhere. And they would basically use those really high-fidelity markup tools and be able to export. They'll use the export tools quite a bit to export to different departments, to communicate different things, to download the annotations. We also provide a big, rich API that ties into the whole Netflix pipeline that you might have seen at the DigiPro conference, where Netflix talked about how SIGGRAPH is part of the review pipeline and how they interact with it. And so it basically just enabled collaboration on every level with their team. And
I think too, for somebody like Netflix, in terms of scale, you're looking at each production has hundreds of shots, and they're going from pre-production all the way through delivery. They work with external vendors where they have to bring in data as well, and review what other studios are working on. And they're scaling. They're at a scale where they're dealing with many productions happening at the same time, and they've asked SIGGRAPH to help handle that in terms of being able to meet those review workflows both internally and dealing with external vendors, and so we see them just dealing with a huge volume of data that they're throwing at us, and it just makes for really interesting technical challenges.
And mine, the 3 as well, they used SIGGRAPH throughout their production. So this is really from concept art through pre-production, storyboarding, really effectively. And they have some great presentations about how they have storyboards and really using SIGGRAPH to flesh those out. So when those goes to different departments and different artists, they really intuitively know how to take that to the next level. And so the progression from start to finish, SIGGRAPH was integral in everything that they were doing.
For anybody who does not know SIGGRAPH yet, we have a little video that is a 3-minute walkthrough, kind of talking through everything I talked about.
Hi, I'm glad you found your way here. We want to take this opportunity to give you a quick run-through of all the amazing things you can do on SIGGRAPH. SIGGRAPH is the only cloud platform that allows synchronized real-time reviews for all types of media files, images, videos, 360 content, and even 3D models. Drag your file into SIGGRAPH and share the link with anyone in the world. Everyone who joins will be synchronized at lightning speed. Each participant can contribute, control the session, and leave notes at the same time. Unlike video conferencing, there are no compression artifacts, no dropped frames, no lag on playback, just a natural back and forth. You can create projects and reviews for all your film sequences, classes, production assets, and artboards. At the heart of SIGGRAPH is an extremely powerful review player which not only allows you to leave comments and visual notes, but is so refined that you can practically animate on top of a video. We developed this tool in close collaboration with some of the best artists in the world, and we have all the bells and whistles they were asking for. Take advantage of frame stepping, audio scrubbing, onion skinning, in and out frames, on-screen menus, pen pressure, whiteboards, and much, much more. You can draw on top of the image and even use our color picker to modify parts of it to precisely communicate your idea, or try it out before committing to it. But we took this tool to a whole other dimension. Beyond regular videos, we support reviewing 360 videos and images as well as 3D models. Spatially dependent notes are critical for game and product design, so we pushed our review tools to allow annotations from all possible perspectives. You want to use SIGGRAPH on the go with your tablet or phone, you won't even have to install an app. SIGGRAPH natively works on mobile browsers. Just click on the link and start working. Best of all, you have all the tools you're familiar with from the web interface, but optimized for touch interaction. Why compromise? You're done with your review? Change the status of the file and we will notify the artist. By the way, you can always find the review notes again and even download them in many ways, baked into the video, or for example, this handy PDF format. Want to integrate SIGGRAPH more closely into your existing pipeline? No problem. With our fully featured API, all commands on SIGGRAPH can be called programmatically. Using this API, we're starting to connect SIGGRAPH to a number of packages. We offer an integration into Autodesk Maya to make it easier to record your shot in Maya, upload it directly to SIGGRAPH, annotate it there, and even download the notes back into your Maya scene once you're done. The possibilities for integrations are endless. Thousands of users trust us with their data, and we're dedicated to protecting it. Encrypted on AWS, your data lives on a framework built from the ground up for security, compliant with SOC 1, 2, 3, and MPAA standards. Third-party agencies impartially and rigorously test all parts of our architecture against the latest threats in cybersecurity to help us stay on target with our mission, to build and maintain the safest infrastructure possible for today and the future to come. There is a lot more to go into, but we'll let you find your way around first. Until we chat again, have fun with SIGGRAPH. We'll see you around.
And I have to excuse myself. This video is from 2019, so it's quite old. So we've added a lot of new things since then, but we have to catch up with marketing on that one. Creating a new video very soon. So since then, we've grown quite a bit. We're basically used by all the big studios, even those that don't want their vendors to use their logos. But here are some of them that we can talk about in the animations industry, creative agencies, film and visual effects, game development, and education, of course. We are very present. We have over 60,000 active users every day, unique daily active users, and over 35 million annotations that have been left on SIGGRAPH. So it's just a proof of how popular the tool is within teams and creatives. And it's nice that we have seen sort of, our ideas, really receive some warm reception from the industry. And of course, for education, we also support a lot of education, educators, schools, and if you're an educator or a school, feel free to reach out to us. We have some very inexpensive or free accounts for you. We came from the education space, so we try to support education as much as we can. And there it's been becoming a term to just send somebody a SIGGRAPH, whenever you want to have feedback on any of your work. And of course, that's something that we feel like has now transcended into the industry as a whole. So if you know anybody who wants to do QA for a really amazing tool that we continue to work on, we have an amazing timeline, an amazing roadmap going forward that we're very excited about, that will solve a lot more problems that we're currently solving for. And as you might have seen, we've been acquired by Unity last November, sorry. Yeah. And so there's a lot of good opportunity now. We're in a team that is called Create Anywhere, along with Parsec, who was presenting just before us. If you don't know Parsec, you should check it out. They're a very low latency streaming technology that allows you to work from anywhere, essentially with just one frame of delay, dialing into other machines and working remotely. So that's amazing opportunity for us to connect those stars in the future. And now it's QA time. So the three of us are here to answer any questions, anything that you might want to talk about. I don't even know how much time we have left.
Good. 20 minutes.
Okay, so we went through it. Great. Sorry for talking very fast. I hope that was... yeah, and I can also show some of the tool if people are interested in seeing a closer look.
Do we have any questions?
Any questions? I'll go here. Oh.
I was curious, like you mentioned obviously you can pull it up on any device, so phone or tablet. What ratio of users are doing this at some sort of home or studio desktop space versus doing it on the fly? I'm just curious what the split kind of is.
Yeah, the majority is probably going to use the desktop. I think a lot of our tools are professional artists working on the desktop machine, but then there are also people who just feel more comfortable using it on the iPad, for example, right? Or if you get notes and you're somewhere else, you just quickly see what note you got, you can dial into your SIGGRAPH, check out the notes on your phone and see, okay, this is what I've gotten. We feel like the Wacom graphical interface tablets is just the best way to give feedback. You have pressure sensitivity. You can work very fast, and so iPads and Wacoms are amazing for that. So we feel like that's where the most creative leaders are comfortable on, and and so that we offer both.
We see a lot of supervisors using iPods as a big tool for them, especially if they are doing walkthroughs in a studio, or if they are within a traditional review where you're sitting in a theater. They can actually control the whole review right from the iPad and leave any notes they want, and then the coordinator can be sitting in the same session with them, typing any notes alongside of that. So in terms of mobile devices, the iPad is definitely one of the big focuses for us in terms of making sure that that's working for them. Yeah. So.
I want to expand on that point too, because in the internal reviews, there's nothing worse than having a single session where people can drive and all of a sudden everybody else has laser pointers. So you have something very prescriptive by one person, and then everybody else is left to these kind of older devices. So having the iPads either remote or in session or there at the review theater really allows everybody to contribute at the same level.
Just a quick question. Maybe I just missed it, but in one of the videos with the cowboy drew a hole in the hat. Maybe he just glanced over it, but it seemed like it created a lighting effect on the cowboy's face. Was that drawn in, or is that somehow intuitively based?
Yeah, no. So far it's drawn. That's a good question. We maybe in the future we'll draw a bullet hole and we have some AI figuring that out for us. But in the meantime, basically, it's you can. Is this showing? Yeah. So you can basically use a color picker and you can just draw over things here. And I did that on that hat. I was basically just picking some light background color and just drawing in streaks, right? So
you want to show the selector for the brushes too?
So you have a lot of control here. Pressure sensitivity you can connect to auto detects if you have a pen or not, right? You can say pressure, speed, and you can say if I'm faster or if I apply more pressure, then my brush gets bigger or smaller. And so you can emulate all sorts of kind of pen behaviors and brush tips and variations. So you can go into all sorts of painterly strokes if you want to. So it basically places in a way that kind of round tripping between here's my image and I want to basically have a refined art direction on it. And now I have to export the frame to Photoshop or how do I get on my iPad to really draw over there and then get it back again. So we try to really shortcut those iteration cycles, right? And that's where we feel like this is sort of the sweet spot for artists.
Yeah. The other thing too is that you're kind of seeing things in real time, and you can have hundreds of people watching this session at the same time. Like as Bernard is making changes and scrolling frames and things like that, you'll actually see it update in real time wherever you're logged in from around the world. And so you get a sense for just like this high fidelity review. You don't have to go over like a desktop sharing session where they're going to compress everything that you're looking at. We're looking at everything in the original fidelity that they was uploaded at. So it just gives you a lot clearer view as to what the artist did and what the feedback is without having to deal with intermediaries. So.
In terms of devices, do you have any kind of integration with like VR headsets or anything like that?
That's a good question. We don't have that yet. Obviously, we are now part of Unity, so there's definitely an option to go in that direction. What we've seen is just at this point, we mostly focusing on the big tickets in industry that we feel like need solving, and VR headsets and AR are, just from a business perspective, just a little bit of a smaller market for us right now. So we're going to tackle the big problems first, and then once we tackle those, and there's still a lot of really important things for us to go for in the next year, we might tackle that after the fact.
That being said, we do support 360 images, so you can upload a 360 image and pan around it and look at it that way. There's just not the device connectivity for it.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you have more questions, come by our booth.
Okay.
We'd love to see you, and then I think if you...
One last thing. Wacom has generously provided us with the tech that we're working with today, and at the booth, I believe we're doing a giveaway of a Wacom tablet. So if you come on by the booth, the Create Anywhere booth, we're more than happy to chat with you about that.
Yeah. Thank you. All right.